All right. Talking shop with Jon Engelson, who is across the country from me. I'm in North San Diego and you're in what, New Jersey? What'd you say?
New Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Yes.
Oh, you're in San Diego. I'm a graduate of UCSD, so I know it well.
Wow. Did you actually study, went to school? It'd be hard to study there with the view.
I I I was I should have ended up at San Diego State. No slight on them, but because I was not a studier, I was at Wind and Sea and Del Mar and the whole thing. Oh, wait a
Yeah.
minute. Sorry, he's calling. I can't get.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
yeah. So I would be distracted studying at, if people don't know, UCSD is right above La Jolla and beautiful area. I'd just be out playing at the beach all the time.
It's incredible. I mean, I lived on campus the first year, which was a walk down to Black's Beach, of course, and then uh, Solana Beach, Del Mar Beach Club, Del Mar
Yeah.
Racetrack, that whole
Yeah.
area there.
Well, I
So
live inland from Solana Beach, and so I just drive straight shot. I end up at Fletcher's Cove in the water. And we got someone else coming on the show. And then if I go Del Mar and Sanitas, it's all kind of in one. If people know North County, so it is my favorite place, but it's
do
too
they
expensive to live here.
do they
Sled
still have
ring
that
and
great? Do they still
have
have
what?
that really good Chinese restaurant in Solana Beach, Joe's?
I don't eat Chinese food, but I think they
Oh
do
yeah,
have
I know.
one.
I don't need them anymore either. It was a college town thing.
Oh, buddy, here, let me bring in our other guest on the
Okay.
show. And we will be talking about holistic health. I know we'll talk a little bit about the protein snack that I love that you make, but talking about story. So as Joe gets on here,
Yeah, give me 1 minute. I am, I was hoping I'd be already in my office.
okay. All right. I love talking to new people about how we can be our best self in the future, how we can improve the aging process. And really, what I keep talking about every day now is how to live our best life and be in our prime when we're 80. That's my new goal. So
Oh
I've
yeah.
got Jon and Joe on the show to talk about holistic health and aging and nutrition and just lifestyle habits. So thank you guys for coming on.
Great to
Yeah.
be here with you in place where I spend a lot of time in San Diego. So very grateful. And my background, I took a San Francisco background.
That's right. It's not the
It's
Brooklyn Bridge.
no, this
Yeah.
not.
But I think the waterfront in San Diego is even prettier, no?
Well,
This
I don't. I'm in North San Diego. It's much nicer in Del Mar Beach. I'll be there tomorrow night doing my
Downtown,
hour.
downtown,
Yeah,
downtown San
downtown.
Diego. I
Yeah,
was there
that.
last year for the low carb.
Oh, you were there? Are you going
Yes.
this year? It's in August.
Yes, but it's not exactly in San
It's in
Diego. It's off.
Coronado.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like in like a resort or something.
There's a conference there last weekend, and it's not just Coronado. It's down. It's kind of a ways out there, but everyone's going to Coronado Island. Beautiful place to have a conference. Can't go wrong there. But that's where all the conferences must have the best deals down there. So I will be there in
yeah.
August for the day. But you guys, why are you here today? What are we going to talk about? What's your passion and your purpose? What's your story? We got Jon and Joe, and you both have beards, so I'll have to not mess up your names. So
It's all good.
Jon,
Well,
One second. That's when you ask Hasid or hipster.
yeah. All right,
well,
Jon, you're on the call first. I'll let you start. What brings you to
so
holistic health and healing and lifestyle?
so just a little background and how I got into holistic health, and usually these things happen um, outside of our own consciousness, so to speak. I grew up in Southern California. I grew up in Los Angeles. My family's all my family. My father was a doctor. My father taught at USC Medical School. I was pre-med at UCSD, um, but I spent too much time in Del Mar and not enough time in Central Library. um, I didn't. I ended up getting my degree in economics.
John, that answers everything.
It does. It does. Joe knows me.
Totally.
I'm the latest to stay at the party, as people know. Um, anyways, I was, I grew up with this sort of standard American diet, and just uh, burgers and pizza and the whole thing. And in my mid 20s, I had some health issues, and I actually had moved to New York at 20 after I graduated college, and I had to move back to Los Angeles because I had to figure out what was going on. And my father sent me to, sort of quote, some of the best doctors in the world. And long story short, they made a major misdiagnosis, and that just left me like, sort of speechless. And I thought to myself, there must be another way. There must be alternative way. And I had at the same time, met somebody named Mayor Abacera, who studied macrobiotics under the leader of macrobiotics, Kushi. And I had asked him for advice on changing my diet and some of the health issues I had that thankfully had a mistake from the allopathic world. And that set me on the course. And from that point, I started to look into homeopathy. I started looking into herbal medicine. I started looking into vitamin therapy, for sure, diet and nutrition. And that's been an ongoing study of all of these holistic practices, which really, if you have to categorize to have a specific meaning for it really, modern medicine treats the symptom rather than the cause. So that's really the major difference. And holistic, which means really whole, means that something's causing this, whatever it is, inflammation or whatever it might be. Let's say in metabolic terms, it could be high blood pressure, it could be high triglycerides, it could be overweight, inflammation. And so rather than just saying, okay, blood pressure's high, we're going to lower it, but not do anything about your whole self of how it's getting high, or how insulin levels are high, or A1C are high. So we'll just fix it like that. Now it works really, really, really well if you have maybe you cut yourself and you put the Band-Aid, because that is where the injury is, or God forbid you sprain an ankle or twist a knee. So the orthopedic will fix that part of it because it's not somewhere else in your body. So it has its place. And those who know me, my mantra, and when I give seminars or when I talk with anyone in an audience, is two words: what works. What works, because many things work for different people. And what I found, and I feel very lucky that in a certain way I didn't go to medical school and learn one way, and I learned many, many different ways. And each way, a lot of people, you get pigeonholed in your way of thinking. So even the homeopathy people don't like the herbal people. The herbal people don't like the homeopathy people. Nobody likes the vitamin people. And I've seen everything work. And so I'm just like outside of any particular genre or any mandate. And I'm like, okay, let's learn this. Will this work for you? This worked, this didn't work. And with diet and nutrition, it's the same way. This one's on a keto diet, this one's on the carnivore diet, this one's on Mediterranean, this one's on this, all over the place. And people have successes and people have failures. So the question is, what is working for people and what is not working for people? So that's really my background. And this is something I've been doing now for close to 35 years.
This bio-individuality, that we're all unique and we different things work. So N equals one, experiment and journey.
Yeah, correct. And it's like I always say, so if you go in the modern medical world, what's normal blood pressure? 120/80. Now, if you think that 120/80, in my opinion, should be for every single person, that's like saying everybody should be 6'2", 222 pounds. I mean,
Yeah.
it's absurd. I mean, they pick things out of the blue that it just doesn't make any sense. Everyone is very, very different, and therefore we have to work with what people are and what their constitution is.
Yep. Now, you and Joe have this, see in the background of Joe's video are the bit long jerky. I see one of my favorite snacks is this air dried beef slices. So, how did you guys get to be working on the beef jerky part of it?
Joe, you take over, my friend.
Well, my story is a little bit how I got into holistic healing. Actually started exactly 30 years ago. 30 years ago started my journey is when I was introduced to the concept, you are what you breathe. And I'm like, what? And I was introduced to the concept that, the air you breathe and the pollutants and everything else. And that kind of started my inquisitiveness or trying to figure out what's what, what's where. And I grew from there. So then I kind of joined, I became a volunteer EMT due to my son's was choking on a Winky when he was like 10 months old. So I went to study myself. And then 9/11 happened, and I was already part of it. I was lucky not to be there that day. I would have been there, and I was not. Thank God I was actually 5 miles away. My sister was there. She walked back from the Brooklyn Bridge. And part of my journey then was being an EMT, realizing how you're just literally putting band-aids on everything. Exactly what we're talking about. You're putting band-aids. You're a glorified taxi service, and there's really nothing you can do to really help. And I want to help the people. I want to do something more. And I remember I walked out of a call once and I met one of my spiritual mentors, and he
But we lose Joe.
Joe, you okay?
Yeah, he froze. John, you want to take over?
Hand me the baton.
He's frozen.
Frozen
So
in time.
we'll pause on Joe's story. Go back to John.
Oh, so
how do you guys work together? What's your role now in holistic health?
So in business-wise, I founded a company in 1990 called You Are What You Eat, where we pioneered putting health and nutrition products in schools. And we ended up getting into the mass market, many products. And some of the, the companies that are, have been sold and grew very big, such as Cliff Bar and Kind Bar. I know Gary, the founder of Cliff Bar. He was in his garage when I was one of his first distributors in Los Angeles. Daniel Lubitsky, the founder of Kind Bar, was in my office in 1994. His first product was called the Peace Works, where he had a project with Jews and Arabs creating olive dips, and we were one of his first distributors in the States. And so we built, thank God, that company to an Inc. 500 fastest growing company in 1998. And I stayed with it a few more years after that. But that sort of set my journey into health and nutrition. I've been involved with consulting and helping companies launch health and nutritional products through many years. And about now over a year and a half, I started as a consultant with Joburg. These are some guys in my community. And I'm like, this is a great product. And, I have a lot of experience in this area. And I think we could work together. I think could help the company direct their marketing in a certain way that will find land on a good audience for the product. And so we continued to work, and then so I sort of increased my role there as chief strategic officer. And I really, my role is really to, I believe very strongly in products that have to match the customer. We not just what we used to do years ago is throw the products into the supermarkets and Whole Foods and everybody, and you just hope it's going to sell. I mean, you try to do as much marketing as possible, but that's not really the way of selling today, in my opinion. The way of selling is to match your product with people who really want your product, who need your product, get them the product, and they'll become mouthpieces and sales people for you. And there won't be this issue of the distributor didn't sell enough or the store didn't sell enough, and et cetera, et cetera. And everybody's happy to buy online today. I mean, there's nobody, it's 98%. So people are with ease buy online. In fact, we love it. I mean, we do it all the time. So what we've done is promoted the product in places like the low carb seminar, and we find places all the time. The low carb cruise we promoted. People are having lifestyle who want to be on, who need protein, who want to stay away from the carbs, who want a good, healthy, minimally processed, clean snack to take on travel, to take to the beach, to take on the road. And we've really catered to that audience, and the audience has been very, very supportive of us. And so we support each other. We try to help. We try to always help with discounts. We try to promote it and just create a family. And it's been growing ever since. And so working with people like yourself who are, at the forefront in the health and nutrition world, we just build relationships with people like yourself, so that you who have clients or you have an audience, and they're always looking for things themselves. So we supply that for that need and fulfill that.
And I think, Joe, sorry we lost you, but I think it's going.
Yeah, I'm back.
I see. Thank you. You were frozen, so now we have you moving. But
I was frozen in time.
Yeah, we'd like that. But
that's what happens. You try to go on a hot spot.
Yeah, that's a challenge with Wi-Fi lately. So I want to focus on holistic health and how we can improve our age. So what I found interesting with you guys is doing the bit long jerky, because I go to Expo West each year. I have a mission to find clean protein. That's my project, because my husband works for food companies, so he's there, so I get a pass and walk the show. Yeah. What I'm always on a mission. Yeah, it's great. It's crazy. It's huge. But
by the way, we can refer to it as steak slices, because Americans don't really know what biltong is.
Okay, so I'm getting there.
Biltong is more South African. So over here in America, steak slices, Americans now can relate and go, "Oh, it's steak." Okay, good.
Well, that's why I'm asking you. So to explain what bitlong is, because what my point is, I'm trying to say is that I've seen all these different options of beef jerky, beef sticks. There's a lot out there, and it's really hard for people to find clean, no crap added protein sources that are easy. So if you can explain, Joe, as you started to, what is your product, air dried beef sticks? Why is it different? How is it different? How's it made?
I would love to. I do this all day, is explain, because everybody, the American people right now are so used to just going in and picking up a jerky. Yes, it's a protein, but it's not necessarily that healthy. It's pretty equivalent to saying, give me a potato chip, because it's potato. Jerky is basically sliced meat marinated in syrup, sugar, corn syrup, and whatever other ingredients that there is in most commercial products, and then it's cooked. Okay, and the cooking process is what dehydrates it, and then it's put into a bag and it's ready to go. So you took a product, you cooked it, you filled it with sugar and other chemicals and preservatives. You put it into a bag, and there you go. Now, if you're going to find a jerky that is actually healthy and clean, you're going to be paying top dollar for it. What we've created here at Joburg is something very, very unique. One, the product is never cooked. It's air dried. It takes almost 2 weeks for the process to naturally occur. So you're getting all the rich nutrients, minerals, and juices exactly the way God has intended it inside of the animal. Number one. Number two is that once we take it, slice it, the ingredients that we're putting onto it is all natural. We're using natural spices. We do not put any preservatives or chemicals. There's no nitrates, there's no carbs, there's no sugars. Okay. Once it is ready to go, it is sliced and put into a bag, which is then nitrogen flushed in order to get the oxygen out to stop the aging process of it and retard it in time. So now you can have it and have an extremely fresh, delicious product that has zero garbage and zero anything for you to worry about. So you get all the minerals. You got 32 grams of protein in a bag. I got like somebody, my nephew tells me, shows me a picture of the kid studying across from him in college, and notices he's got the bag. He takes a picture, he sends it to me, and I say, "Wow, what made him get it?" Like, he says he just couldn't believe it that so little calories and so many grams of protein. It caught his eye. He just grabbed it. Little calories, high protein, and no carbs. It's kind of like a win-win. Now, when you're talking carnivore, you're talking keto, you're talking any of the lifestyles that really, really encourage people to look for animal protein and to really look for a way how you can enjoy it properly. Our product, even though it's a small bag that has 2 ounces of product, is the equivalent of a 6-ounce steak. It is between 6 and 7 ounces. You need to put 6 to 7 ounces in order to get that bag that you're eating. So if you eat 2 bags, it's like you ate a full 1-pound steak.
Which often I need. If I always go by Dr. Gabrielle Lyon's research and Dr. Donald Layman, that we need 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. That's just easier math for me to think, all right, if you want to weigh 150 pounds, that's how much protein I need. But the point is, I was trying to make that not
150 grams or
a
150
day,
ounces.
150 grams of protein per day. So I
Wow.
need, that's the research out there. So to stimulate muscle protein synthesis as we age to avoid muscle loss or sarcopenia, we need, especially females my middle age, that we need to have more. So we need to stimulate muscle protein synthesis with the right essential amino acids, with the right leucine amino acid in that threshold. Plant-based, not against vegan, vegetarian, because I was that way for years, that we have to get more animal-based and having, say, 40 to 50 grams to get. Point of why I want protein more is to get more muscle and not lose it. But the other side of it, having a bag is that, or a quick snack of protein, it's full. I get full and I'm satiated. It curbs my cravings. So the protein part is getting that 32 grams. That's a big thing of what I'm looking for when I'm researching protein sources for people that just can't eat 150 grams of protein, or at least 100 grams a day, because it's so filling. I can't eat 3 meals a day of a steak, or Sean Baker will just eat giant steak. I can't eat that much.
I love Sean Baker. He always has this like giant steak in front of him, right? With this giant cutting board.
I know. He can eat it. So
Ken Berry, he can eat.
Ken.
I love Ken.
Yeah, so I've been on the low carb cruise a few times, and so anyways, that's my point. I wanted to share this product and your stories with our audience, because I think it's a struggle for people to get good quality, clean protein without the added crap that you'll find in the stores.
All right.
And that has enough of the protein that helps you, especially as we age and aging athletes, stimulate muscle growth and feel full and satiated and have the right food available.
So
So let
if
me
I may,
add one
if I
second, John,
one
John,
second,
one second.
give me one
One
sec.
person.
Yeah.
Just let me, and I'll let you. Just on your point, Debbie, and this is what we spoke about a little bit before about not being a zero sum game, meaning if a person can't have 150 grams or whatever they
Yeah.
need,
100 or more.
if they whatever, at least if they can get closer, they're doing better.
Yes.
Better. So that's the point I wanted to make. Like again,
Correct.
yeah, that's the key.
Two
Back
bags
to
of
you.
Joburg gives you 64 grams of protein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's incredible.
that's what I love that product, your product, because it is difficult for people. They'll have one egg or two eggs. They think, okay, I have my protein. Well, that doesn't do it to stimulate muscle growth. Now, I just did this actually. Here's a good stack. So I like to stack things because I can't eat so many eggs to get 40, 50 grams of protein to make it a meal to stimulate my muscles. So I need to have a bag of jerky and two eggs. So you can find, if you're traveling, taking a bag of the bit long jerky and two hard-boiled eggs you find at every airport and have that available. So if you're on the go, it's combining foods to get that 40, 50 grams, I think is
Yeah,
my
but Debbie,
personal goal.
I need I'm sorry I'm correcting you, but
That's all right.
when you said the biltong jerky, it's just biltong because
Oh,
otherwise your listeners are going to say, "Oh, jerky is fine." No, jerky has
okay.
sugar in it,
Yes. So what's
and
the
we're
correct
trying to
term? You're
avoid the
saying,
sugar.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's my point
correct.
too.
Either
So
it's
how should
steak
I say it?
slices,
Steak slices
correct. Steak
or
slices
Air
or
dry
biltong.
steak
air
slices.
dried? Air dried steak slices. That's better.
Yeah,
Very
correct. And like this, we avoid somebody making a mistake and they go, "Debbie, I got jerky because you told me to."
good.
No, no
Now it's
jerky.
all your fault that I had carbs.
Yeah. Well, it's not carbs are bad. It's the processed foods and the crap that's in jerky. Because I know, for example, Fridays I stay after noon and work at the Solana Beach, and there's nothing to eat, and so I'll go to the drugstore and trying to find beef jerky to keep me satiated until we go out to dinner. And there is nothing that's, I always read the ingredients. So I think people, for one, start with what you are buying, read what's in there, not the front of the label. Oh, it has this much protein, but read the back of it. People don't always do that. So air dried steak. Now, with your mission, are you guys trying to help people just eat clean, or what's your approach with your marketing on this air dried beef steak
I
slices?
want to say one thing that thanks to John here, John actually opened my eyes, and he actually gave me the focus and ability to see how the the healthy lifestyle clientele is who is looking for this product, when to me it was just happened to be a healthy, good product I was making going to the general public.
Hmm.
When the general public doesn't really care, to them, give them sugar, don't give them sugar, it doesn't make a difference. And he's like, no, 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 no. Focus on the people that want you,
Mm-hmm.
because you might as well, like this, you won't get carried away and start actually putting sugar in there because of your general public that want your product. Focus on the right people, and then you're going to be able to keep your motto of a healthy, delicious, amazing product.
Well, it's kind of what I have to do marketing for my coaching clients and my packages, that you have to figure out who's your avatar client, and explain that my client are the high performing, ambitious, driven people that are doing more is better. I'm not going to target helping people that don't want help. So the people that are taking ownership of your health are your clients that want to improve how they age and get clean food so they can get stronger as they get older, not lose muscle and eat food that causes inflammation in their body.
By the way, Debbie, that you hit a term that is very, very near and dear to me, and that is ownership of your health. And this is what I one thing I suggest, and I'm a mantra on with people. Why would you give your health in the hands of somebody else? Today we have information. I know some of it's contradictory and controversial, but um, I tell people, take charge. take charge of your health, it's like it's yourself. And when you take charge of something, it will mean more to you. It will mean much, much more to you. And you can do it. And we just been, this is sort of a brainwashing. We've been dumbed down, and Joe, you'll second this with how we eat, how we live our lifestyle, how we do everything. We've been dumbed down to, a commercial, basically, and a commercial came on and told you that eating sugar,
Fruity Pebbles was healthy.
exactly, because that was it. Or Coca-Cola, or all these other
To
things.
me, it was colored rice. How unhealthy could it be?
And so
Or Frosted Flakes.
So the first step to take charge of one's health is, there's two steps that goes hand in hand. Is one is what you put in your body, and one is what you do to keep your body humming, which is something that meaning your exercise, your movement, your breathing, all these other things that are keeping the the holistic, as a body in tune. And so therefore I really love that term. And we're looking for people who want to take charge of their health, and looking for people who understand that and helping them, that it's a busy, the people are busy and they're on the go, and they're coming home in traffic and they need a snack, or they're at the airport, or they're on a cruise, or on a hike, and they need something, and we want to fulfill that need and that mission.
Are either of you from South Africa? Because I know the bit long history is how they make the beef slices in South Africa. Is there any connection to your recipe?
Joe, tell the story of how you got in the company, and that your name and the whole thing.
Yeah, sure. Joburg actually stands for Johannesburg.
Yeah, I figured that.
Yeah, you figured that. Now, the funny thing is, I actually come from the technology industry. I've been 30 years in technology. And I would say it's about 8 years ago, my daughter, so the company Joburg existed, who's now one of our partners. He launched a company because he's South African and there wasn't any product in the stores. So he went and he actually created this product. Came COVID and he was shut down because his co-packer went out of business. So what happened was so my daughter comes home 8 years ago, and everyone knows me as my business name is Joburg. Spelled differently, but it's Joburg. So she comes home with this bag and goes, "Dad, I found your company." And I said, "Wow, that's so funny, so cute." And that was the end of the story. I never paid attention. I never really had any appreciation. I wasn't exactly a healthy eater or anything. I was like, give me my babka twice a day, and I'm satisfied. That's my nutrients, my chocolate, sugar, and carbs. And 5 years later, 6 years later, when all of a sudden I am actually in looking at health products, and God has all of a sudden pushed me into food. Somehow I ended up meeting the new owner of the co-packer who was trying to reopen it and not knowing anything. And I kind of said, "What, Joburg, Joe?" He goes, "Yeah, I used to make it here." I go, "Really?" I said, "Can I have the guy's number?" I call up David, and David's like, "What do you want?" He was all like sad that his company had to close down because of the factory. I was like, "Can we meet?" And we met. History's ever since. We basically took his product and we built a whole factory around it. We have a 20,000 square foot of dry meat facility, just to create clean label dry meat delicacies that will hopefully get into the mouth of every single American. And that's our goal. And we're working on that just today itself. I'm on my way back from the plant developing two new products. We were creating a clean label Brazola and a truffle flavor, black truffle steak snack.
Ooh. What was the first one? Brazil?
A Brazola. Brazola is an Italian dry meat delicacy, but it's usually made with nitrates. I made it nitrate free. So everybody can enjoy it and clean label and be healthy and go, wow, this is the most delicious piece of dry meat I've had that is without junk.
So you
It's
were
clean
saying
label.
it's clean and no stuff in it, but the difference of the air dried beef slices versus the processing of jerky, how does it get so much more protein because it's just a steak sliced up versus what do they do differently with beef jerky that people get in the stores that only has, say, 11 grams?
Well, I don't know if this is a true statement. Could you cook out some of the protein when you cook through the cooking process? I
When you're
don't
doing,
know if that's accurate. When you cook it, do you cook out some of the protein?
I'd have to ask online
Okay.
research.
Yeah. Then the other thing is also because it's so saturated in syrups and sugars that a lot of the weight, at least 10% of it, is syrup.
Mm,
That's the whole sugar and everything. So you're really getting a less meat. So the weight is made up in 10% of
Well,
the
that's the
syrup.
key. If I could chime in, yeah, that's the key. So I think what maybe your audience will see clearly, like people say, like with dark chocolate. So chocolate itself is 100% chocolate or cocoa, which is
cocoa.
very, very could be very bitter, but there's bars out there, and people associate, oh, I'm gonna have chocolate with sugar because what they've done is they've reduced the cocoa content and added the sugar. Now, it's been said that if you have a 70% or better cocoa content, that you get the polyphenols of the chocolate. So, but what's left of the 30 is usually, organic cane sugar or something like that. Now, as you lessen the sugar and you increase the cocoa, that could go up to 80. I see now people doing 85 and just putting a tad of sugar, which it continues to get better for you. So the same thing would be here, that if you have 2 ounces of jerky, but out of those 2 ounces, now you have 1.3 ounces of real meat, but zero point 0.7 ounces of spices and additives and all these other things, corn syrup or whatever it could be. So therefore, it's much cheaper, and therefore there's going to be less protein as well.
Is it
Sugar
grass
is a lot cheaper
fed?
than cocoa.
Yes,
Yes.
Okay, so it's
yes.
And
grass-fed
pasture raised.
meat, a pasture raised. So that's the key part people don't really think of either, I bet, on their looking for quick beef jerky is that the difference of this is not just that it's air dry, but it's
Oh,
grass-fed. You don't find
100%.
that.
And the
Yeah,
and
I
the and
meant
the,
to actually ask you that before when you said you need 180, let's say somebody weighs 180 pounds, they need 180 grams of protein per pound of body weight. Imagine you're eating all that with antibiotic infused protein.
Yeah.
You kind of like, I'm not sure if you're doing yourself better good or harm. You're getting the protein, but you're also getting some of that poison that's in there. So you really need to get meat that's actually grass fed. If you're going to feed yourself with animal protein that at such a level, at least make sure it's grass fed and pasture raised, so it's not there's no antibiotics in there, no hormones added, because you don't want that in you.
and also the grains itself, are
The
you know
corn.
you yeah your the animal becomes you know is sort of infested with that. Now listen, I even you know Ken Berry, who I respect very much, says,
Just gonna
listen,
say.
grain grain fed beef versus a Wonder Bread or any is light years ahead. So again, we want to set the standard that pasture raised, and many studies have shown that one of the benefits of beef, of course, is the omega-3 and all the other nutrients that the conjugated linoleic acid, which are incredibly important for one's health, are on much higher levels with grass-fed and pasture raised. And it makes sense. I mean, if you're grazing, they're grazing, they're feeling better. You're not force feeding something down, the cow just to make it bigger. And again, this becomes back to the, the profit margin there. So, we're doing everything possible. And that's why have a certain challenge to say, okay, yeah, it costs us more. So we have to, we have to sell it for a little bit more.
Do you have the nutrient profile for what is vitamin and minerals in the product? Like what other,
That's
you said
actually better. I mean,
omega-3s.
do you have the bags with you?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I ate mine all.
Did you? You didn't get yours yet? Wait, let me see if I can transport it to you. Hold on a second. If I can, we have this new technology. Let's see if it works. If I put it through the camera and see if you can get it on the other side. Hold on a second.
Uh,
All right. Did it come through?
now how is it supposed to just magically appear in my hands?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if it didn't work this time, it's worked for me a few times.
Oh, that's weird. Well,
The
I'll get
nutritional,
yours. Let me pull up your website. So keep talking about that. So you said omega-3 fatty acids.
okay, it's got iron and potassium at 6%. And I'm actually sending it out to somebody who can actually read all the nutrients that's in it, so I can actually post that because I think that's very valuable.
Yeah.
It's
there's definitely omega-3s. I mean, this is something. I mean, it just happens to be in meat, and there's going to be biotin. So that's one of the things that we, as I came here, is to get more of the macros in the label, because again, most company when they start, it's just like, oh, we just want to get it out and get the protein, but there's a lot of macros that are in it, and we're going to get the exact numbers of those. But just from a general point, we do know for sure that grass-fed, pasture-raised beef, their macros and their nutrition levels are 15 to 30% higher than grain-fed.
Well, that's why I'm asking, because the reason it was actually the low carb cruise. I was with Danny Vega and all these people that are carnivore-ish back in 2018, and I started to hear all the nutrients, and I did my lab work, and I was so low in everything that was found in red meat. And so I switched gradually after hanging out with these people, sneaking secretly red meat, and I've, oh my gosh, I feel amazing. And started eating more steak and grass-fed burgers. But the reason was because the nutrients that are in red meat, and people think,
Correct.
Oh, red meat's bad for you, but that's what the carnitine, the zinc, the iron, the B vitamins, everything's in red meat, and people are so afraid of it still. It's just crazy.
Well,
so
I'd like to grab that a little bit, because I started macrobiotics, and then I kept myself open. And when I learned about the carnivore diet a few years ago, I was shocked. I went in with an open mind. And actually the one who opened my mind on is somebody named Jordan Peterson. I'm sure have you heard of him?
Yes.
And he was like,
one second, John, hold the thought for a second. Debbie just went on to the spot where it was the image of the kosher. So for your listeners, so they know that this is actually a kosher product.
Oh yeah, sure.
The last picture.
Yeah, it's not just kosher, it's also halal as well.
I didn't know. So that was on the other one. Okay, so I missed it. Okay, go on, John.
Okay, so anyways, he was overweight, he had a lot of health issues, and all of a sudden he tells a story how after a year or two he lost weight, his health issues changed. And what I started, because this, again, my journey in health and nutrition, I was open-minded, and I started just going one after the next, from Sean Baker to Ken Berry to Anthony Chaffee, Dr. Ovadia, uh, Dr. Cirrus, go on and on. And I said, this can't be real. I mean, we've been told it's the worst thing. It does this, it causes cholesterol, all these things.
Yeah.
And then I'm reading, what got me the most is two things. Is that usually after people get on a YouTube video with a diet or anything, like, there's always like a 1-800 number, okay, call this and get this. And listen, there's a few of these guys who, Dr. Gundry, I mean, he's selling a lot of stuff, but for the most part, it was just like, okay, they said their story and they gave their information, and it was like, that was it. And it was like, okay, that was the first. But the thing that got me the most, more than anything, and that's what really changed my thinking for good, was all the comments. I would go through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments. I'm 68 and I'm eating, 30 eggs a week, and I'm in great shape, like all these, comment after comment. I reversed my diabetes. I reversed my heart, my blood pressure. All my, my metabolic health changed, one after the other, from people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. And it was like, I couldn't believe it. I mean, and you can't make those people up. I mean, those are real people. Those are real stories. It was one after the next. And that was what I understood. And I understood the hamburger. The problem with the hamburger was not the meat. It was the bun and all the garbage that was in it. And that was what got me reversed. We always thought it was the meat.
Yeah.
But it's really it was all those side things. And that really, and when you think about it, and this is logic, really, what is the most pure product you can get in the market? And it's really meat. I mean, it's just, you take a piece of meat, you put it in a container, and that's it. There's nothing processed. There's nothing that, and the whole market is full of stuff today, processed in bags and this and that, and how many ingredients. And if you go and get a piece of chicken, or you go and get a piece of steak, and you go to get a piece of fish, truthfully,
single food ingredient,
single food, and the purest ingredient. And this is what people have been eating, really, for real, for obviously thousands of years. And the other thing is, this is the other caveat to it, is that the grains today are not what they were before. And the wheat, for instance, is full of chemicals such as glyphosate. The wheat is a much shorter wheat. It doesn't have it doesn't have all the nutrients that it used to have, and so it's just totally different. So therefore, we're on a totally different road. And so that we all had this sort of similar experience. We're like, whoa, I didn't really realize this. And then I was always into like, oh, I thought that less is better. But then you realize, and as you grow older, that the protein that you need is so important for your bone health, for your teeth, for your eyes. Dr. Berg just came out with a thing on the eyes, that the sugar and the excess carbs are a big strain, on the eyes, etc. So, and again, if you're doing great on carbs, I'm not going to tell you to steer otherwise. But what we find with so many people who are have metabolic issues, or not, markers are problematic. We see really such an incredible improvement when they change their diet and they get rid of the starches and excess.
Yeah, especially if they're not active.
Fresh foods. Correct. Correct.
So
So
I know
that's, that's just real life story.
Yep, I know. I mean, I think I'm not carnivore, I'm not keto. I just say I eat real food and try to do the single food ingredient list and not
Exactly. I'm like
say
you.
I hate saying I'm not keto.
Right.
And everyone for years it's just always eat real food, as Weston A. Price Foundation is and Nutritional Therapy Association. We say eat real food that balances your blood sugar and makes you feel full, satiated, and energized. That's what right food. At my age, I'm really focusing on based on the research. As I said, protein first and then figure out the rest of my macros from there. But just choose each time I eat is going to be what's the source of protein.
And I'm with you there. That's so I tell people go on a fresh, real food, pure food diet. If it's in a box, in a can, and all these things, try to stay away from it. Which so,
Labels.
you'll get controversy for people talking about fruit, but I think that again, if like Anthony Chaffee I think he's fantastic, but he had experiences with vegetables that most people don't have. Meaning he was really allergic to it, so he's so against it.
Yep.
And but let's say somebody like Dr. Sears, who we were just on his podcast, he would say you could eat as much greens. There's no limit. He doesn't want to, what you'll eat because you'll be full. There's no problem there. So I'm sort of in that. You have to find where your sweet spot is as a person.
And it goes back to what you said beginning of the show. We said bioindividuality. Not all vegetables are bad. It's what's good, works for me, doesn't work for you. Like Brussels sprouts, I love, but I'll be burping up. Green peppers, I try to avoid excessive oxalates, spinach and kale and all this different stuff. So I think everyone has these different dogmatic diets, as you said, beginning of the show, that I feel that we still need to figure out what's best for you is going to depend on each person, especially if we are working on functional lab testing, food sensitivities, leaky gut inflammation, dysfunction. I mean, and even gallbladder, liver issues. People can't take in a high fat because they don't have the ability to digest it properly. So that's where it comes into more personalization of what
I love that word. What was that word? What was that word?
Bioindividuality.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Debbie, bravo.
Yeah. So I know we're running out of time, but where can people learn more? And I'll add everything in the show notes we didn't get to finish about your 3 C's and 1D.
Oh, well, quickly.
Well, okay. John, did you make any special codes just for
of course. I'll get what's 3 C's and 1D. For everyone, that's very simple. When you want to start something, 3 C's are clarity. The first C is clarity. Be clear where you are, where you're at with something. Then you can move forward. Commit to doing something positive, and be consistent. That's the 3 C's. When you clarify, commit, and be consistent. But the fourth thing is the D, which is discipline. To stay on your path to do the best you can for your health and your well-being. 3 C's and a D. Yes, Joburg Meats, JOBURGMEATS.com.
The S is for savings, right?
Yes. And
Debbie 15,
Debbie 15 in the cart gets you 15% off. We'd be very grateful for all your listeners and supporters, and we will support you guys and works together. You'll have a great snack, and you can get your macros.
One second. What was it again?
What?
John, what was the link again?
It says here, well, the Coach Debbie at joburgmeats.com/Coach Debbie, or you get 15% with discount code is Debbie15.
Okay, good. So you can do the Joburg Meats with an S at the end because there's more than one meat. .com and /Coach Debbie, right?
Yes.
Yes.
You got it.
You can do /Coach Debbie. And when you do the purchase, don't forget to put in the code Debbie15.
Okay.
And that will give you your discount and run now and get it. Get yourself healthy so you have what to take with you on a flight instead of waiting for that airplane food. Have some real food with you.
Yeah,
I know.
take it
To the gym, have some real
spend
protein.
$20 for a bottle of water at the airport.
I
Right.
know. Well, it is more affordable than the stuff in the store because you're $10 a bag, and the stuff I see at the store is $15, $17.
Yeah. Well, we
So it's a
try.
lot better
We
deal.
try. We do our best, to keep the price well, and we try to help people with the discounts. So it'll be great. It's a win-win for everybody,
All
for
right.
sure.
Well, thanks guys for sharing your story, and I'll
Thank you
add
for having
anything else
us.
in the show notes, and we'll hopefully get everyone to try it out and let us know how they like it.
Yes,
Amazing.
thank you.
Thank you, Debbie.